Right, welcome back to the resonant state, the state of your mind at this very space and time as we reconnect with the destruction of American culture through the the mockers, right? There's one type of demonic class of being the mockers, and that's what we see in the Epstein class. Ultimately, they do it and they mock you. They're mocking you as they laugh at you. And so as we go into the deviant art, we see art is a bridge, between, you could say, man, culture, the cosmos. Art as its highest form is one of the highest possible expressions of humanity. Art is also artifacts, trickery, beguilement, right? So we enter into this. This is the realm of beguilement. We have been beguiled by this mass culture, by this media, by these genuflecting politicians, etc. And so, as we enter the artwork with William Ramsey, one of the top podcasters in at least in this galaxy, and Sean, who is actually in another galaxy, but he is the best podcaster in that particular galaxy, which is for now unnamed. But but I would I'm very glad to be here. I do apologize. I appreciate all the support I've got, all the listeners. I know I haven't posted anything. It's been a while. I've got a huge drop of material I'm going to be putting out, looking at much deeper analysis of what I would call the moment of the millennium, which is what we're at right now, which I think the Epstein files is a definite part of that trajectory. So, anyways, thank you all, and let's hit it. And William, you got the mic, unless you guys can say something.
Thanks, Sean. Do you got anything intro stuff?
Oh no, it's just glad to be here again. I'm always glad to talk to my friends here every week, and thank you for joining us again.
Yeah, we had great responses for this series and the Epstein files, and people are saying it's totally original. I haven't seen other stuff out there. A lot of people are still talking about it, but we talked about last time, like how, like you said at this intro, Hans, is like the doorway to the soul in these files, and I think there's so much art here that is. And I kind of almost feel like I've only, seen the surface of the iceberg, but it goes into the whole art world and Epstein's connection and how connected he really was, like, to so many people in politics, finance, but also art. And there's evidence in those emails of just so many art connections to kind of infamous things that even people may not be in the art world are familiar with. And so I tried to integrate those into this presentation, this slides presentation, which it's pretty lengthy, but it just shows how much stuff was in there, and stuff was in like the mansion, and how these, I mean, I think it's insight into the rich and their proclivities and what they're interested in. And he's a perfect like exemplar of kind of like the deviant art, or the transgressive may be a better word, but that was just the word that I went with. But I kind of, just this introductory slide is really just about how the taxes work and how art is often a means of wealth transference, wealth preservation, tax-free stuff. And so I think that these guys collect for that reason. They also take loans out on these art and collateral. And I think you see a lot of that, like a lot of people are familiar with Hunter Biden and his art, where he's making 500,000 for like watercolors that I could draw. And so it's a means of like wealth transference. Also, he probably could take loans on stuff that he didn't sell, and then he could just renege on it and keep the profit. So there's like all kinds of little tricks that they do. And it ties back into our other previous discussion of last week and what's commonly called Pizzagate. I prefer the Podesta emails, or the Podesta files, because it's much broader than what we saw in Pizzagate. But I think that there's just an analog, and there's so many analogous things between the Podesta files, which were released in 2016, and the Epstein files. So, and it goes, he was in the art world too. I mean, for people who don't know, but Alephantis had an art studio, I think in Germany somewhere. And there was like art being shipped around, and you'll see that in Epstein as well.
Yeah.
Real
Genesis-
quick.
Oh,
Sorry,
no.
Hans. Sorry, but the wealth transfer can also be that's the money transfer, but then you can trade the children behind the scenes and pay for the children with this artwork. And also look at, George W. Bush started being an artist after he was done being president. Who was the guy from Boston, the mobster, Whitey Bulger he was doing art in prison. He's selling his art. Like, so think about like organized
Serial
crime.
killer. What's that guy?
Gacy, the clown
Oh,
paintings.
right. Yeah, right. Yeah, that was the cover of Acid Bath. They didn't even want, the band did not want that as their cover, and the company that owned them made them have that. Like both covers were like serial killer artists. So I'm glad that Acid Bath, people should check out this. But anyway, the transfer of money can be, like when Washington D.C. Decriminalized cannabis, but they weren't allowing anybody to sell it. So, but there would be people on the streets that were selling a T-shirt for $50, and it came with a free bag of weed. And it's like how they were getting around the law. So, so keep in mind that can be done with the art too. You get you get this $10,000 piece of crap art, then you get the free child that comes with it. So.
And you'll see that in here. There's a transference between Epstein and this guy Serrano of kind of like actually religious iconography. And you kind of wonder if there's something else attached to it underneath. And I mean, I don't have any proof of that, but it is odd that these guys are like, I really wanted this Mary praying, when they're like into transgressive stuff and transgressive art. Like, what is Epstein doing with this? There's also, it comes to mind, there's a transference of an antique or antiques between Maxwell and other people. And I didn't see a cost associated with it when I was reading through it. And it makes me think something like this is going on. Because somebody hasn't done the forensic analysis of all of Epstein stuff. So it's like, it's just totally Byzantine, man. It's like a true wilderness of financial mirrors. But like, where are these people? Where's this money transferring coming in? But like some of the documents I've seen is like he's just sitting on cash like crazy, $80 million in cash and stuff. Like, wow, and these different trusts and stuff. But anyway, this is what the point is of this first is to I'd like the listener to think that it's not just art that they're dealing with. There's something under the surface, sub rosa, occulted transference of money, tax havens, the kind of stuff that Jeffrey really started out doing for Bear Stearns was like tax havens and shifting money offshore and all that stuff. That's really where he earned his stripes or his bones. Yeah, somebody says here, isn't hundreds a way of laundering money? It's certainly potential. I don't have evidence of that, but they're in my opinion, they are overpaying for his art. It's not worth $500,000 of what they're paying. So something else is going on, in my opinion. So
yeah, anyway. I wanted to just bring up first of all, like for the series, the one thing we've done is to go into deep dive into documents and not just, one little factoid, throw it out there. But, we went through the FBI disclosures, right? We brought a lot of new material out. So that's one of the unique things about the show. But I just wanted to just bring up the idea that also we have to look at mimetic warfare as a component of this, and even using negative press as a mimetic weapon. Epstein files, this disclosure, mimetic weaponry. You know what I mean? So you have you deflect from the source points. Example, Pizzagate, right? What is that? Refer to Watergate. Right? So,
yeah, good point. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So there's a book I just started reading. It's called Money, the 12th and Final Religion by this guy who was with Nixon at the time. And it's super deep. He talks about Moloch and all this stuff. But he says that the gate, this whole thing was constructed. Watergate, Pizzagate, Monica Gate, right? It's a gate. And then Pizzagate. So why is this? Who gave this that name? Why does this have that name?
Right.
Right? So you think of a cover up, but then you think of a term that means it's crap bullshit, and then pizza. Oh, pizza gate. Oh, these guys are really right. But look at this. How do these names are part of mimetic warfare, and there's no reason why that name takes such a hold. So, anyways, as we go into this, just to keep that in mind, and that this stuff, these disclosures, another part of mimetic or information warfare is just to you kind of spread the shock out so there's no comprehension. Oh, this revelation. Okay, change the channel. Next revelation. No, this is a seminal document. I mean, this is a world historical document, at least in terms of the American Empire and its lifespan, you know, so to speak. Anyways, I'll leave it there. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh, real quick, I learned I recorded with Fiona Barnett part 2 just the other day. I didn't put it out yet, but she mentioned that Alice, the actress there, Nicole Kidman, is connected to the art world of Australia. She's like in charge of the art of Australia. And even in the movie, she's like, I used to run an art gallery, but it went broke. And the guy's like, oh, I have some friends in the art game. Right. So I just want to bring up some Eyes Wide Shut in this conversation.
Wow. It makes perfect sense because it ties in with the theme. One of our earliest shows on this was Eyes Wide Shut and how much art is in the film.
Right.
It's almost like you're walking through an art gallery.
Right.
There's so much art in the background and heraldry, and we'll see that's in here. Like they're not. I mean, I hope they're not referencing Eyes Wide Shut in their motifs, but it's like the same wood paneling and golden frames and all this stuff. Like, wow, like was somebody with Epstein? And I'm realizing that Epstein was in the common culture as a kind of archetype or like of the mystery wealthy guy. He was in 2 shows. He was in one of like the CSI shows referenced. And they basically they had a file that said Epstein.
Right.
But
it was X-Files, wasn't it? Was it X-Files?
Oh, yeah. And then the
CSI.
other one was
okay.
Sex and Gossip Girls. It was Gossip Girls,
Okay.
which takes place on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, where the mansion was, the mansion from hell on 71st Street. And they actually literally filmed in front of there. And they had a sequence of a guy who was like an Epstein figure. So they're like a cult, like it's almost an occult presentation where the insiders would know what's going on. And they were sent an email to Jeff like, hey, this is what happened on Gaza. And you could see, I mean, I think it was his address was address 9 on 71st Street. And you could see the 9 from his front doorstep.
And 9 is the most satanic number, according to Anton LaVey.
Right. You're
muted,
Hans.
You're muted, Hans.
Okay, you're not unmuted.
To go back to art, though. So just put it in the context of, you have, like, say, the pre-Raphaelite paintings. You have such an amazing flowering of thousands of years of painting tradition to reach a level of real mastery, right? At the same time, what comes in? Surrealism, Dada, splatter. These amazing artists are starving in the streets, dying of starvation, and people, selling a jar of piss are making millions, right? Literally. And then, of course,
it's interesting you say that. We're going to see this today. Piss Christ.
Yeah,
Piss Christ is actually a good photograph, though. I'm sorry, guys, but okay.
But I wanted to mention this. Cosmere, just talking about this international art scene. So these are things that cost millions of. I mean, Rolex is one thing, right? You're talking about. These are, so for example, Kazimir Malkovich, supremacist composition, a black painting of a black cube, $60 million for a painting of a black square. There's 4 versions that have been sold for 20 million each of a painting of a black square called supremacist composition. So that's just a factoid about the art world that, okay, here's a painting of a black square where I can paint a black square. I paint, but what I'm saying is that, like, there's not only the occultic aspect, but as you mentioned, the money laundering and the financial, but this high world, right? Where Like you have people are paying 50, 100, 250 million dollars for something that is, you know, either of questionable esoteric value. But so I think it's very interesting.
It really is. I mean, it's also like an asset that can move around very easily, so it's tangible. There's all kinds of things having to do with art that are much different than stocks. It's move around, you can keep it somewhere. There's like super high-end guys and their whole job is to maintain art in like warehouses and safety and without dampness or anything like for these guys because they're so high value like you said. And you're kind of uh presciently anticipating what's in this display of one of the wealthiest artists in the world who had a connection to Epstein. His name is Jeff Koons, and his art is very strange. Like it's not something I would even have an interest in paying $5 for, but a lot of people paid a lot of money, and it's kind of like a celebrity thing too. Like these artists become celebritized, so it's another interesting component about the art world too.
Well, I'll say, I know Sean would dive in there, but the mockers, right? So essentially, these elites are pricing the artworks for themselves, right? And it's like one thing if you have a Rembrandt, right? You've got original Rembrandt. It's an original Rembrandt. These are amazing paintings, right? You go and see these things. These are, you know, they are transcendent objects, right? I did a show at the Columbus Art Museum, even though most of the art there is it's one of the worst art museums in North America, I would say. But that being said, there's still some good paintings. But the level of this craft, this is an inside joke, right? Who brought up, through the Frankfurt School influence and through this idea this is originally anti-Nazi, then anti-communist, the avant-garde was promoted by the CIA. Jackson Pollock, right? I'm Jackson Pollock. Let's just get totally drunk, take a bunch of paint buckets and throw them on the canvas, and then do some crazed actions, and then let's sell this drunken splatterfest for hundreds of millions of dollars. This is a valuation, right? Picasso began it. There had to be a slow incline into that. And Picasso, he admitted himself, I can't paint like these guys. I can't paint like the masters. And, you know, so anyways, but this is an inside joke. It becomes a currency that they're trading. It's just that they have a much higher value, asset value cap that they can trade the stuff. And obviously they're trusting that the black square painting that I just bought for $80 million is not going to be worth $9.50 selling at the garage sale next door. So it is like a type of mockery. They're trading these assets in front of our eyes when they're not, of course they're real assets, but anyways.
Yeah, we've found ourselves in the era where the a banana taped to a wall is multiple thousands of dollars. So I mean, really, but it's kind of the same as money. Money's only worth what we believe it to be, and all of the finance news and stuff convinces us again, like, oh yeah, it really is worth something, even though like it's just paper and it's just it costs like 8 cents to make $100 bill or whatever the hell, or like at $8 is what we pay. I forget. But anyway, it's utterly worthless. The only value is what our mind agrees to. And so when they get, a banana taped to a wall, somebody is going to sell that shit. It's like, it's a good salesman can sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman in white gloves. You know what I'm saying? So really it's all about the illusion. And I think that also another aspect of this is they like the dark shine, they like to rub our nose in it. And like you were saying before, Hans, about the mocking, it's like they can mock us and they can like apply all this money to it. And in that way, the money that they're applying is our slavery. It takes our slavery to create that money. And so it's like it's like a proof of this much slavery. It's really, it's a weird thing to think about. I don't know, but just want to say that. Here, let's get into the thing. William, if you don't mind,
Yeah,
let's
let's go. I
'cause
mean,
you've
there's
got
so
a lot
many.
of stuff
There's
to say.
different artists. Like this is MJ Truth Ultra. This is like Harold Seward.
Oh yeah.
There's redacted things in here. This is supposed to be like a chicken, but it's also like a man. So you'll see this kind of like deviant type stuff in relationship. I have to go find this in the files. There's also connections to the one of the original abuse victims who is an artist who makes kind of like Hieronymus Bosch paintings about her experience with the Epstein network.
You're talking about Maria Farmer?
Farmer, right? So
Yeah, we shared her work before on last episode.
her she claims that her art was stolen and is on the island or somewhere, or 66th Street, and so this is her work right here. Let me see if I can get this to work. But this is it. It's the one that's redacted in the background, I think. She claims that that's hers. So they're willing to steal art too. Like these people are freaking criminals, man. Just horrible stuff. And she told this, according to her, she told the New York Times that Edgar's interior known as the rape. So this is something like she turned Epstein on to. Farmer did. And the first series are kind of the sets that I all put together. The first ones are from the mansion. So this is 9th Street on 971st Street on the east side, Upper East Side of Manhattan, near Central Park. And this is what you see when you walk in, is this kind of weird wedding ghost holding onto a rope in the center of atrium. We did these,
and it's got clouds around. It's coming down from the clouds on the rope.
Right? It almost, yeah, it's something.
It's like a descending angel, whatever. Right?
No, and this is you're seeing that these are ritual settings, okay, with specific types of iconography, right? Unless it's a set for a horror movie, you're living or people are coming into space. This is a ritualized setting. And it's a message for those in the know. They will be able to interpret the symbolic language. Remember, we talked about that show. The first show I talked about art, symbolic language, symbolic meaning available only to the initiates. So what does that mean? What I'm looking at? It doesn't mean much to me, but you guys may know.
Right. Just like in Eyes Wide Shut, when they walk into the party, Ziegler's house, he's got a statue of Psyche and Eros, and they're kissing, and like that. It means so much to the people that understand that myth, but to the regular person, it's just, fancy statue, right?
Right. These all have meaning to him, some of which I'm aware of and some I don't. So this isn't casual, kind of like I like that and see it. It's because there's some type of method. We went through these two things. These were on his bookshelf there. This is the one about the girls. This is the Tomato Girls by this guy Loeb, Damien Loeb, Little Miss Pink Tomato. So he owned this. Actually,
Pink Tomato, dude. Come on. Tomato sauce on cheese pizza. Come on, dude. Oh my.
But just to call attention, right, to the painting, right? So we have, again, art. This is supposed to be, very deep type of perceptual thing, right? You're looking at a masterwork of art. It's not like you're like, oh, here's a, cartoon image. No, so there's a lot of detail. Notice like the demonic faces on the girls, right? And the fact that a lot of them look like boys, and I mean, for example, the one in yellow with that, the color schematics, she's opening this like kind of a heart thing. I mean, there's a lot of detail in this painting. I mean, I've not looking at detail, but you just notice their gestures and then the camera right in the front, right? So this is photography. It's a type of a pageant. But the one in the yellow bathing suit, look at that black cloud behind them, right?
It's a tornado.
It's a tornado. Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Oz, right?
And the spinning is one of the things that they do to make the victim change personality. When they spin them around, it's a dissociative trigger. And maybe these are all the littles that are inside whoever painted it, or maybe not.
Well,
maybe, but still, like the people that are multiples will have little children inside their head. The small versions of themselves that got broke off during all the abuses. So maybe that's related to that too. I mean, the spinning of the tornado. That's what Wizard of Oz, like that she was spun and then brought to another world. And so anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, notice their faces. They look like middle-aged women, right? They don't look like little kids. They look like they could be in their like the one in the white one. They could be in their 50s, late 40s,
Right.
hard 30s. So you see that like the adult head on the child body. So it could be either the head of the programmer or the head of the multiple. Who knows?
Right.
They're on display. There's lights on the stage. They're putting up for display. It's not even a suggestion. That's what's happening. So
Right.
that's what those lights are in front of them. So it's very odd in a lot of different ways. This guy, Damien Loeb, is close friends with artist Moby. But this is sold for 50,000. So like I wouldn't buy it, but that's what they said. Then there's this infamous picture of Bill Clinton that's literally in the mansion. You have to open the doorway to the security. And there he is in the blue dress wearing heels. And we talked about last time, like, did Trump have sexual relations with this dude? And sure seems like it. But this
And
is
sorry, but he's engaging the viewer. Like, here's looking at you, pointing right at the person looking at the painting, and the
Sure
red
is.
shoes too. It's got red shoes.
These are all in the White House. These are all in the Oval Office, I think. There's the one. It's the same artist. And there's one that people probably haven't seen, which is Obama in front of a freaking cauldron or an nganga or something, like
Yeah, this
in a ritual
tribal,
setting. Yeah, he's
African
in a
tribal
circle.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
African tribal stuff.
The artist's name is
And
Patrina Ryan Clyde.
the thing with the George W. with the paper airplane, that's funny. I mean, that's
It's
pretty.
all 9/11 stuff.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
There's also this kind of strange picture. I have to find out the artist, but it's basically a zebra being peeled open. This is kind of one of the themes of like some of these deviant artists, is like skeletons and things like that. Pictures of mosquitoes. These are all like, you can see the EFT numbers. This is where like a lot of the darkness happens. For some reason, these three pieces of art are redacted, but they left this one redacted. And there's a lot of sequences of mirror sequences in the porn pics that I've looked at, which are all redacted. There's a lot of sequences of naked girls in front of mirrors. And I think that there's some kind of weird occult thing going on, even with this. Yeah.
Remember Alice in the Mirror and Eyes Wide Shut, where she dissociates? She goes right when the act of sex is happening. She goes into dissociation mode. Like, that's the mirror is the calling up of the altar. Like, the other one can come up now. You look at it's a trigger for the altar to come forward. So that way they don't have to do anything else. The person just sees the picture, and then they just go into the state of like, oh, now I'm rape victim altar. Like, I mean, you'll hear stories about women talking about like when their abuser starts unzipping their zippers, like they just go blank and they don't remember anything else, like because
I talked to a girl who was she was in this whole kind of thing about escorts and stuff, and she said that she dissociated every time. So every time she had to do her job, she would just go out of her head. Like literally, it was a trained thing. And so this makes perfect sense. One of the other odd things about this is, why is that behind a kind of looks like a cloth like curtain that you could pull back and forward? Like, what's up with that? Like, so basically he pulls like the curtain open to when he's raping. Like, massage is a code word, right? It's a massage for the sexual abuse. Like, he grooms them into the abuse and then ships them out. And a lot of it took place at every place he was at, but mostly in Miami and New York. But like, this is all creepy. Like, why is that your choice?
Well, I think what's interesting, just noting right in our journey through the house, so that what I did, last week, I looked at all the elements of art, the ritual element, art as a conditioning hypnotic mechanism. The mirror, look at John Cocteau's movie Orpheus, Orfeo, right? in Orfeo. So John Cocteau, surrealist filmmaker, very much connected with some of these various occult orders. But in this, you walk through the mirror to go to the other dimension, right? Like Chronicles of Narnia, walk through the mirror. So we see the mirror, the lady looking in the mirror, her reflection would look down, right, upon the people in the bed. The other things are hidden. So the mirror can be a dissociational mechanism or the art itself for the victim and be a porthole for those who are coming out from behind the curtain, right? So it's, you know what I mean? So these are some of the different functions of the art. And it's actually, it's really fascinating because it's a combination. This is like the ultimate situationist, whatever, art as reality thing you could think of. It's actually pretty cool in terms of just like academic analysis. Not cool what he was doing in his mansion, but I'm saying that we see the house, the art has transformed the house into a ritual space. It is like a museum, it is like a set, it is also, of course, a house, but the art itself creates this whole sort of synchronistic weight of all these things. But there's also the art as the effect of the mind controlled slave who has entered into the house of mirrors, right? Which is what these mockers have done to our world in a lot of ways, right? Or trying to do, right? So,
Yeah, that it creates a space for the victim to totally dissociate easily because of all of these triggers around. Like, you know, uh, yeah. Anyway, please continue, William.
It's just a lot of weird stuff. Like I mean, if you walked into this like from like a lower middle class background, you'd just be like flabbergasted. Like I mean, God only knows what's behind these redacted pictures, but although this would be very disorienting. Like, whoa, what the heck is going on? So the psychological impact or the ritual impact, I think, would be immense.
Right. Like, think about the 12-year-old girl that just got invited there by her friend from school who's like, "Oh, I want $200." And she goes upstairs for the first time and she sees all this stuff, Like it puts her in a different space mentally.
No question about it. This is odd too. Like, so you see Christian iconography on a guy who's Jewish, who eats kosher at times and calls people non-Jews goyim. Um, you'll see this in there, so it kind of makes you wonder what the heck's going on. This is another religious iconography figure amidst all this kind of weird art. I think that's Christ on there. So it's like, and we've already seen like blasphemy, like some girl was praying to Jesus, and he'll be like one of his victims, literally is praying to Jesus, and Jesus will see him, and then Epstein writes to his friends, "Whoops!" Like he doesn't even care. Like it's funny. This ballerina theme is from one of his bathrooms, and I've realized that that's one of his components of trafficking. Is he was definitely trafficking girls from ballerina schools and things like that. And there was actually 2 or 3 days ago, Friday or Thursday, when King Charles the Grim Reaper was Charles III was in town, and this weird fanfare that was taking place with him and Trump. There was also a meeting of victims, and there's just one girl whose name was Bensky, but she was from ballerina. She's groomed out of these ballerina schools. And I didn't make that connection. I saw it now, this kind of weird art of a ballerina doing it. That was one of his kinks, is this kind of ballerina thing, but there's other he either he took sets or he took pictures of a lot, or somebody he knew took pictures of a lot of girls, and there are like what you would see kind of in a set of like a series of sets of women in various states, the same girl, but like it would be like if you didn't have a video camera, you would take 20 or 30 pictures of this girl in different poses, and he did that once with a girl clearly who's a ballerina and on a literal ballerina pole. So I think that's one of the aspects of his whatever thing.
is that
Pink
real?
ballets.
Look at, sorry, just one thing. You see the shadow? Is that a real?
It's 3D. It's an installation. It comes off the wall.
So it's fully
It's like a
dimensional.
statue. It's like
It's like
some
a
kind of
leg. Oh
yeah,
my god,
yeah. That
So
EFTA
that's
number's
really
there.
creepy.
This
people
is
should
when they
know.
raided his mansion after they arrested him back in 2019. That's when these pictures are from.
People should know about pink ballets. There was the Troquet affair in France, and it was in the 50s, where a ballet troupe was touring Europe, and it was a front for child trafficking. So that was a whole thing. And the guy had a madam just like Maxwell. Like, people should really look it up. It's the same thing, and it happened in the 50s, like 58, I think, something like that. The pink and blue ballets, Ballet Roses affair is what it's called. You look that up online.
Yeah, you have to translate it because it's usually referred to in French. So because of it, yeah, it's Belgian or whatever. But yeah, that's real.
right.
Talk to people about it.
That's right. So it is a
But-
real thing, and that has happened historically. So it just makes sense that it's still happening.
But that bathroom is just like, it's a crappy bathroom. I mean, my bathroom looks better than that, man. So it's almost like let's wash the blood off type of bathroom, for that level of wealth. Think about it. You know what I mean? You know what these people's bathrooms look like? I mean,
It's probably for the victim
slaves,
to stay in. Yeah, right.
with that leg. Yeah, that's mentioning the mirror. Like I said, you have three aspects, right, of the art. Real quick, is that one is that, yeah, you mentioned the mind controlled. You walk in there, the intimidation. This is just going to be, you won't know where you are. Absolutely dislocated. You can bring someone in from government, whatever. Oh, he's got eccentric taste in art. For someone who is involved in the ritual cult, it is a temple, except it's hidden in plain view. It's a ritual site, ritual temple with all these occult stuff that normally you walk in, you don't see, like, bodies hanging from the ceiling and, sense, you know what I mean? Like the whatever, hammer horror, house of, horror, satanic sacrifice. But that's what it is in your face if you look below the veneer. I mean, I'll offer that as a speculative.
Another thing, the act of tying on the ballet shoes, it puts the person in another state where they're going to perform now. It's part of the switching. Like, a lot of these little acts make, like, I don't know if that's true. I am assuming it to be so because of the way that every little, like, when you put on the costume, it's becoming the other. And someone commented here, I put it up, that Black Swan is a whole thing. That's right. Like, she's dissociative. She has another personality. Like, and she's a ballerina. She's in ballet school. And so these people they're preyed upon just like in the models. It's the same. It's just another group of young women that are separated from their families that are easily preyed upon. Beautiful young women. And really, I think that's what ballet has always been, is like prostitution, but I can't prove that. I don't know. I should probably look it up and see.
If you're a rich guy in France and there's all ballet and these young girls are dancing around, they're super skinny. That's it. This is a birthday card to Jeff from a ballerina. You can see she's in a ballet pose. So you can see like this thing, like this whole theme. I think she's probably, in a place where they get dressed, like a dressing room is my guess. Nobody's seen this in public, but this is just an example. So it's a side of it. Like when this girl, I heard her on in Congress with Ro Khanna, who was a co-draftee of the EFTA legislation. I was like, oh, I made this connection. So like the ballerina. Remember, that's the bathroom. So the public wouldn't really see that, or the girls wouldn't see that either. And
only the one that is staying there for the night. You know what I mean? The one that they're preying upon. Right. So anyway,
here's an example of like what he was doing. I don't know if he's taking these pictures, guys, or if somebody else is. I suspect in some of these instances he is, but there are hordes of data sets like this. But these are just like classic motif. This is a dancer or a ballerina of some sort. And then it seems like this is the same person. She seems to have the same skin tone. So then he would take these. This is definitely Little St. James. So this is either a victim or something. And I mean, they're all like, they're super redacted. Like, you can kind of get the gist. You can tell it's Little St. James by the background here, because that's Big St. James in the background. Little St. James is kind of a smaller island next to Big St. James. But then you'll see these sets, same underwear. And then this might be the same person at the ranch. But I mean, at the Hell Ranch, so I don't know. But this is like 13 pictures, but there's the ballerina again. Like, it's crazy. So anyway, the art reflects his real world. There he is. This is Irina Shuliak. This is his. But I think the tell here is Jeff, the egotist, really sees himself as a mastermind. So he's kind of making the hand on chin. And then Shuliak is his little, side piece who's admiring him, right? Your face is facing them. They're not independent at all. So I think that's it. As a lifelong bachelor, we don't know how many kids he has or whatever through Cryobank. I'm not aware of that yet, but there's no evidence he ever got married or had anything. This is kind of like the ornate stuff. That's royalty in the background of some king or queen with a baby. So this is kind of Eyes Wide Shut stuff. This is definitely it's a picture from the mansion. Another picture in the bathroom of like a naked person that's redacted. A pair of women's breasts from another slide. That was his thing. And I can bring up a statuary. Like, he would keep statues of this. Like, it's weird. It's almost like a Jeffrey Dahmer-ish, where he had, what's the thing where you put clothes on it? It's a, what's the word for that? Like a mannequin. Yeah. He had like mannequins of female anatomy.
Is that a photographer is that somebody?
I don't know. Maybe it's a famous nude photographer. I don't know.
Okay. I mean, it's a good image. They did really good lighting on the boobs there. Whatever. I mean, but anyway.
Yeah, this is like art. This is like art photography, art erotic stuff or whatever. Right. Yeah.
It's high art. Right?
He had a lot of porn, and it's hard to go through the video stuff, but the one thing they didn't redact is he was into this one style of porn called met art, which is kind of like a higher end. It's not Hustler or something, which is like super vulgar, but met art is like, I don't know, tasteful porn or something, I guess you could call it. But like, they got like real
Playboy as opposed to Hustler, right? The Playboy version.
Something. You can look up met art. I can try to bring it up, but I'll probably get censored off of YouTube, like last show. Pictures of Little St. James in the mansion. So like, he's referencing his island. That shows that there's a direct correlation and tie. This is one of the old Greek gods, as I'm told, in the background up on the wall. He looks like a Jewish rabbi to me, but this room is weird, and the way they did the wallpaper is strange to me.
The pattern on the chairs, the leopard skin, that's like sex kitten stuff. The beta sex kitten women wear that stuff. And also the leopards is what Inanna had leopards.
And you see the same thing in Eyes Wide Shut as Jeff. You see these depictions of tigers. So the tiger pattern too is there.
Wow. Yeah. There were tiger stuffed animals too with Alice, like that.
Sure were.
Yeah.
But you have people being placed in these highly traumatic dissociative states, going through all these stages of induction, where you go and you're modeling, every dream's coming true, you're going to be a superstar, and then, goes from here to here, and I won't, go through a depiction of that verbally, but this has its same aspect of a highly ritualized space with a very clinical atmosphere, right? It's not free and loose. It's also not, super decorous, but it's very much like a clinical space, like of operations. Like, there's a gong in that room. It looks like a training room, right? And think about people that are really starting to get really messed with in their brains in a house like that as a prisoner. Man, that's going to be deep, right? So it's,
The
There
gong.
she is with the tiger, and this is kind of she's insinuated that she's trafficked, like she's a prostitute, but I mean, they're all a prostitute is somebody's being trafficked. So
Right. And she had a book on her shelf that was about being a prostitute for rich elite people that are in an occult order.
there you
Like,
go.
and her name is Domino, which is the name of the masks that they wear at the party. They're domino masks. There's a whole lot, and the roses on her bed and the whole red, purple. There's a lot going on with her. Yeah.
Nothing to chance there with good old Kubrick. So
Right. Right. Yeah. He's probably been in these places and seen them back in the 50s before Jeffrey bought them. Like he
it
probably seen.
must have been his relationship with the guys who were the studio heads, which he hated. He didn't seem to like them. He was always in competition with them. He must have been around them in their leisure time. This is another one of his massage rooms. What's weird about this is this picture is usually redacted. For some reason, they didn't redact this one. And it is like of a woman kind of like in a state of like either drugged out or dead or something. So it's not, I don't think it's that appealing. It's the way it's hung. She's upside down and stuff. So
Yeah, she looks like she's been through some tragedy, you know.
Or she's been disemboweled, and she's like, I just watched the movie Salo, recently. So Salo, this is like not Salo. I'm sorry. Oh my God,
We watched that.
Not-
We had
not
to watch
Salo.
it.
I know you.
I
did.
know. I just had the Dario Argento movie about the dance school.
Oh,
right.
Suspiria.
Suspiria,
Suspiria.
Right.
This is
That's
this-
ballet too.
That is ballet. This really reminds me. That's why I was bringing up the ritual stuff, because Suspiria is exactly like this.
Yep.
Even with the art, you look at the teachers' offices, very much. Suspiria is very similar to the stuff I'm seeing, except they have this underground these secret chambers underground. I don't know if those are there. We'll find out about them. But I mean, it's weird that
I'm
this
sure
art
under
imitates
Zorro
life.
Ranch has underground chamber. Go ahead, sorry.
There's no question that Zorro has underground. It's not arguable. And in the some of the files that I showed recently on social media and Patreon, they said the same thing about Little St. James. Like the blueprints for the place said underground things, which you'd never know from a topical observation. Like, whoa, they really have something underground there. This is like their coded words, but like even this picture's coded with the like tiger and the tiger pigs or whatever that he's gonna eat. Like, whoa, what's going on? Anyway,
What?
I have to figure out this artist. I don't know who this is. This is another weird one. If you look at the centerpiece there, it's like some kind of head that's been like it's like a malformed, misshapen head on like one of the center things.
Looks almost like that scientist that doesn't speak. What's his name? He was in the files too. The guy in the wheelchair, Hawking. It almost looks like
Hawking,
Hawking's
Hawking,
face,
yeah.
like all kind of.
This is an interesting one. We'll get into this in detail. This is called Coming of Age. And it's so strange how they redact certain stuff, because they redacted the faces of these people. Are they victims, or is he drawing something like this? But I'll show this in greater detail. What they didn't show is that the little kid has a chubby. Like they didn't redact that.
Jeez.
Like, okay, whatever.
Chubby. That's fine. I haven't heard that in a long time.
Well, I can probably use more vivid terms.
No,
but-
it's all. We're on YouTube. You're doing fine.
Here's another one. This is naked girls on inner tubes. I don't know. I have to find out some of these artists who are in here. Zorro Ranch. This is an art, but this was something that they found on his chalkboard. But it like refers to power and deception, and somebody's taking this apart.
POE, purity of essence, right? Yeah.
Yeah, political plants.
No, I was just from
Molly, meth, or something.
I was just saying from the Kubrick movie there with like the Ripper, the guy, the code for the nuclear POE. It was like all scribbles and all like in his notebook. Anyway, sorry.
More kind of leg focus, like he had these girls in frames and stuff. I need to look into this other guy. This guy was associated with Brunel, but his name was He had a girl named Helen Hogberg, but his name was, this is Patricia Chibran from France. This is like something that shows up in my stuff. But his name was David Hamilton. He had his own scandal, his own pedo scandal associated with Brunel. And this is a list of a lot of the people who he had in his stuff. Alvarez, coming of age. Petrini, we mentioned. Loeb, we mentioned. There's a femme fatale. Girl reclining on a lion. So French erotic stuff was in there. Anybody want to take a guess who this guy is? That is Auguste Rodin. So that's the guy from the statuary. His most famous one is The Thinker. But this is interesting. Anybody feel like reading this?
I got it. That's fine. This is to Jeffrey. Sent the subject, Musée Rodin, Gates of Hell. I spoke to a gentleman today from the Museum Rodin regarding the Gates of Hell. The museum really wants its pieces to be exhibited publicly. So if purchased, placed in a museum for all to see. If a piece is purchased for private use, it becomes complicated. The man wanted to know if you had anything to do with the person in Geneva who was also recently asked for the price, has interest in the Gates of Hell. I requested this gentleman please give me a price, and he said he can only give me an idea of a price as it is up to the board of trustees. They give the final price. You must send a written letter to the director of the board for this. It's a process. But finally, he gave me the idea of a price as 22 to 25 million euros. The man said he had received my email as well and would respond back with a synopsis of this information. I have yet to receive it. I sent another email to him. M. Avare.
Right, so that's the Gates of Hell.
Nice.
For 22 to 25 million.
What does that look like?
We're going to get there.
Okay, great.
Well, this reminds me. So I mean, what's very intriguing about this whole thing is we're seeing. Okay, we watched Salo. I mentioned Suspiria, the Ninth Gate, right? That's also basically about a book and essentially about art, about the collector's market. So this email exchange, it's almost like there's, you know what I mean? Like here we are bargaining in the infernal realms, like his house. Okay, maybe it's all not that bad, but it really looks like they're abutting some extremely dark forces, and the art is a way of connecting it. It's a way of transacting not only the financial energy, but the energy of the evil, the ritual energy, the whatever the, you know what I would call it, like the child sacrifices are going into the work of art and making them like ritual objects of power, like
you went on mute for a second.
Oh yeah, talesmen of the satanic zombie serpents who call ourselves our masters.
Yeah, somebody mentioned in the chat Roman Polanski. We'll get to Polanski soon. He pops up, but he's in the files. He knows Polanski has been to Epstein's mansion, which makes perfect sense. As Polanski did Ninth Gate, like you said, and also pedophile claims, left the country over pedophilia, and then went to France. And there are French girls who all say this dude is a freaking pederast, man. He likes young girls, like Jeff.
I think he was filming for the elite. I think he was making films of their porn for their black market stuff.
Makes perfect sense. Yeah. Make money on the side. Income. Like these guys are making money on the side too, doing their dark, evil stuff, man.
Right.
And they know there's all kinds of stories about snuff films and BDSM associated with the whole Manson Tate killing.
Right.
So this is one just to continue. Dear, discussed yesterday, I confirmed several points concerning the Gates of Hell. Original cast legally limited to 12 cast. 8 casts were already made, means that Musée Rodin may still have the possibility to make 4 casts. You have to send a letter to Madame Chevillot, and there is this kind of French art collector, book collector in Ninth Gate too. Interesting. Director of Musée Rodin, using what would be the place.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Let's go back.
The place.
Museum of the place, the conditions and exhibition of the piece. As I've told you, this item is generally reserved for public exhibition. It takes 3 years to cast it after signing a contract with a firm order from the purchaser. Usually the payment has to be done 3 parts according to the schedule of casting. Do not to hesitate to contact me for additional information. So they went through the things to find out the price and the whole mechanics of how to cast the piece, right? And these are the proof. Gatesville called it Rodin's Life, called the museum. This is from Jeff. So this is 2015. Call the museum and find out how much for the Gates of Hell. So he like embarked some kind of order through email, and it started off that chain. This is the Gates of Hell. This is interesting for a variety of reasons, not just the gates themselves, but the picture and their containing it in the Epstein files, because this is from Stanford University. This is Palo Alto, and there's been the Edge Foundation. I think we talked about Abramovich and the Edge Foundation in 2015, 2016. I don't know the date of this picture, but
so this is a cast that is on display, right?
correct. And what you just heard from the museum director is that there were 8 casts. So this is one of 8 in the thing. So he was looking. It never happened to my knowledge.
That is wild, man. It's like the 9th gate. Like they're going all
Oh yeah,
around the
8
world.
of them.
We're
and then
looking
the
at
ninth
it.
one,
Here's
right?
like we're not
Yeah.
making this up, folks. Here's the actual no.
You
I mean-
see the EFTA number right there. You can go
Yeah.
check it out. What's really fascinating is how big and imposing it is. This is 12 feet tall of solid metal, I think bronze. And you'll see centered in that center piece right there is the thinker, right? And so then on the top, these are all have meaning too. There's all kind of things about Rodin and all that stuff, but this is really an impressive piece. What's odd too is that there's a lot of pictures of it in the files. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's like somebody took time to do 7 pieces in this. It's interesting because it's outside. The guy was saying in the emails it was on display. This is in a kind of like a sculpture garden, I guess you could call it, at Stanford University at their museum. And you can walk around. This is interesting too, because this is another Rodin piece, but it's called the Caryatid, which is a statuary kind of, it's a statuary thing that goes back to temples. They called them caryatids, where they were statues that actually held up the temple. And there's actually the spherical caryatid was the spherical caryatid of 2001 9/11, right? At the World Trade Center. It's called the spherical caryatid. It wasn't really a caryatid, but I think they wanted to impress upon the viewer that it had some kind of meaning. This one is Auguste Rodin's fallen caryatid carrying her stone, also called fallen caryatid with stone, or caryatid fallen under the weight of her stone, conceived in 1881, depicts a nude female crouched in exhaustion, bowed under the crushing weight of a massive stone slab, symbolizing burden, suffering, and human struggle against overwhelming forces. Now you got to understand too, the gates of hell and this sculpture, in the sculpture garden, there's like 20 or 30 other pieces. So what's in the files are these 2 specific pieces. So, and it's just saying it's the Gerald Cantor Rodin Sculpture Garden at Stanford University.
I mean, so this is an enlargement from a piece from the Gates of Hell. That's what it says, right? So he took this as one of the figures, right, in the decorative motifs, and this is an extraction enlargement. So if you have all these figures from that in a garden, that is, if this has whatever type of ritual or energetic significance within this thing, and you have these huge enlargements of it in the garden, and there's 8 gates. Where's the ninth? Jeffrey's trying to buy the 9th gate, man. No.
Right. Wow. Wow. That's amazing. I don't see that little piece that's in here. Maybe it's on the upper right corner.
It said in the thing you read. It mentioned it.
Right. I'm just trying to find it on the gates.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, very interesting. Here's another interesting thing about Rodin. Anybody want to read who wrote this book? This is Wiser Antiquarian.
Auguste Rodin, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah,
oh, Aleister
Rodin.
Crowley. Right, there it is. Okay.
7 lithographs by Claude from the watercolors of Auguste Rodin with a chaplet of verse by Aleister Crowley. So this is one of his rarer books that he put out on vellum. So vellum, for people who don't know, is basically like deer skin.
Yeah.
Like it's very
I think it's
lovingly
pig.
done.
I think it's like, okay.
Here, Crowley's writing about the caryatid. He has a verse in this about a caryatid. So it's kind of like an old, stylized version of something like beauty, burden, all that stuff. Anybody want to read this, or should we just?
I'll read it. I think it's interesting because I think that, as I mentioned earlier, like one of the things about what we're doing is we're getting a lot of different aspects, right? You may get this reveal, that reveal. This is some really interesting, like fascinating, deeper depth. So this is very important, I think, to look at these nuances, right? To get that thing. So the caryatid again. Here we go. Shall beauty avail thee, caryatid, crushed by the weight of a world of woe? By birthright the burden is thine. On thy shoulders the sorrow hath slid. From the hand of the healer, behold, in the steady, continuous throw, shall beauty avail thee, caryatid? Thou wast proud of thy beauty. The burden of thy beauty was hid from thy eyes. How is it now with thee now? By the sweat dripping slow from the brows of thy anguish, we see what the weight of it did to the patient despair of the brain. Shall no God strike a blow? Shall no hero be found the unbearable burden to rid? And if these be extinct, 'tis a fiend that laughs eager and low. Shall beauty avail thee, caryatid? Wow.
I'll just re-emphasize, those are the only 2 pictures that are in there of Rodin's sculptures in the sculpture garden, is the caryatid and the gates of hell. That's it. That's all he was interested. The other ones are boring. They're like, statues of guys or artists or something like that. So, and people in the chat are like, satanic pedophile. Crowley was literally a satanic pedophile, guys.
Right.
This is what he wrote about Rodin. Anybody want to read that?
Sure.
Let me just comment a little bit on that last poem. So that poem is basically where these forces have taken the beauty, who didn't recognize their own beauty. In a sense, they wouldn't give it to the person that wanted it. That's what's implied, right? So it implies that the beauty is, in a certain way, you could say it's divine, right? The beauty is given from God, but the person doesn't recognize it. They're being exploited and they're being crushed, and their brain, it says, literally talking about mind control, brain function, and then shall thy beauty avail thee now? No, we control you. You're our slave. Come, you know what I mean? That's literally what it's saying. We will crush you. And we will take that divine beauty that exists in your soul and your physical whatever, and even that won't help you. And the fiend, right? So this is that. It's straight up Epstein, man, stuff. He's actually at least a decent poet. I did not know that Crowley was at least.
This book, the genesis of this book, took place while Crowley was in Paris in the 1920s, and hanging out with the glitterati of the time, I guess you could say, wealthy people like is it Josephine Pierce, supposedly, and others, among
Barbara
others.
Bush's mom, right?
Harris, these other authors. He was seen by Hemingway and just other artists and people. He was around. He was always Crowley. For people who don't know, he really wanted to be a famous writer and poet. He never really broke out of kind of the third or second string, but his output was just astonishing. And this is one of the one of the evidences of one of his lesser known works that's in there. And I think that somebody has a private portrait of those two together somewhere, picture of Crowley. And there's a lot of art about Crowley that is not in public. Yeah, you can't find evidence of it. You can hear that it's there, like He supposedly, Crowley made a picture or painted a picture of Aldous Huxley, of all things. It's in a private collection. So this is just another example. If somebody wants to read that,
It's probably a chubby in that picture. That's probably why we see it.
Well, this is a panegyric, right? He's basically worshiping Rodin as a god man. You know, it's like, you are the great titan of all arts. So this is a panegyric, right? The name of the and these are kind of like, you know, traditional forms, like a Greek form of poetry. It's praising Rodin. I mean, you can read it. It may be interesting, but
Here is a man for all the world to see. His work stands, shaming nature, clutched, combined, in the soul still center of a master mind. The Egyptian force, the Greek simplicity, the Celtic subtlety. Through suffering free, the calm great courage of new art refined. In nervous majesty indwells behind the beauty of each radiant harmony. Titan, the little centuries drop back from the contemplation, stand and span. With one great grip his cup, the zodiac, distill from all time's art his wine, the truth. Drink, drink the mighty health and age's youth. Salute, August Rodin. Here is a man.
there you go. That's what the book looks like. There's like little watercolors of women, but you can buy it. It's done in 1907. Maybe I have my timing right. Maybe it was before that time. I'll have to go back. My Crowley's a bit rusty.
it reminds me of that Life cereal. This is for maybe the older people. Mikey likes it. You know, and so Mikey, the Life cereal was a cereal, and then he ended up dying of an overdose from some candy. But Crowley likes it, so I mean, he really likes Rodin, right? I mean,
Yeah.
he's saying he's like a god. You know, he's saying he's controlling these forces of nature. And by the way, the word nervous there doesn't mean our modern usage of nervous as fidgety. It means like the whole power of the nervous system, like just awakening like elemental forces of experience, right? It doesn't mean like he's stressed out. That's just wanted to clarify that. This is super interesting.
This is the Massacre of the Innocents. It's not by Rubens. I had it wrong. It's a different artist, but it's the depiction from Matthew of one of the slaughters of all the children under 2 in Bethlehem. And this is something like that. Unlike the Gates of Hell, which Epstein didn't acquire, he did acquire a 9x9 this, and he put it right in the entryway into the Zorro Ranch, Hell Ranch. So, like, imagine walking into this and knowing what it is. Like, maybe somebody outside of Zorro Ranch didn't know, but this is literally about slaughtering like children in reference to Christianity. And it's not Rubens, but it is called the Master of the Innocents. Anybody want to read this? This is the sequence of what references this art.
I'll take it. The Magi visit the Messiah. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea during the time of King Herod, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem and asked, "Where is the one who has been born King of the Jews? We saw his star when it rose and have come to worship him." When King Herod heard this, he was disturbed, and all Jerusalem with him. When he had called together all the people's chief priests and teachers of the law, and asked them where the Messiah was to be born. "In Bethlehem in Judea," they replied, "for this is what the prophet has written. But you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For out of you will come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod called the Magi secretly and found out from them the exact time the star had appeared. He sent them to Bethlehem and said, Go and search carefully for the child. As soon as you find him, report to me so that I too may go and worship him." After they had heard the king, they went on their way, and the star they had seen when it rose went ahead of them until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were overjoyed. On coming to the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshipped him. Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, they returned to their country by another route. When they had gone, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream. "Get up," he said, "take the child and his mother and escape to Egypt. Stay there until I tell you, for Herod is going to search for the child to kill him." So he got up, took the child and his mother during the night, and left for Egypt, where he stayed until the death of Herod. And so was fulfilled that the Lord had said through the prophet, "Out of Egypt I called my son." When Herod realized that he had been outwitted by the Magi, he was furious, and he gave orders to kill all the boys in Bethlehem and its vicinity who were 2 years old and under, in accordance with the time he had learned from the Magi. Then what was said through the prophet Jeremiah was fulfilled. "A voice is heard in Ramah, weeping and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children, and refusing to be comforted because they are no more."
That's what this picture depicts, is that slaughter of the innocents. That's what he wanted. That's what Epstein wanted. The murder of the innocents. That's by Rubens. That's Mother Mary.
What he does to those women is like, those women are no longer little girls. You know what I mean? They go to his house at 12 years old and they come out changed. It's kind of, in a way, slaughtering their innocence.
I agree 100%. Hi, Rich. This is Sarah Kay. This is the person who worked under Epstein who never got indicted or anything. Jeffrey's asking if you can FedEx the painting you made of the Massacre of the Innocents to the ranch. It's the large 9x9 canvas that we had rolled out for him to see in the entryway where they are killing babies. She literally is saying that. He wants to use it on the ranch and is hoping you could FedEx it to arrive by Wednesday. Thanks, Sarah. Send the killing babies picture.
So people can remember back to our earlier Epstein episodes where there were sonograms and there were mothers or victims that were, trying to cover their eyes, but they looked between their fingers and saw them take the baby away. "What did you do with the baby, Maxwell?" And then she has to look at that painting.
There's more and more recent stories coming out of Zorro. That's what they were doing. There's an reference to an incinerator, underground things. There is another girl who said that it happened. Her name was, there's so many new women like I haven't seen before, but I think they had the courage to come forward. But there's one girl who was on 60 Minutes Australia, and she validated this thing that I did, this story about Blue Butterfly, which is another girl who said that she was operated on at the ranch.
Right.
And we did, just to follow up, we did one on the code words. One of the earlier shows we did after the Epstein files dropped in January 30th is I had these guys, both Sean and Hans, read something about the animals there. And they're like, yeah, Jeff doesn't care. Kill them. But keep the chickens for the eggs and the horses to ride. And then in the context of like more information that comes out about this kind of baby infant trafficking or whatever the heck they're doing, whether they're sacrificing to Baal or whatever, that chicken with the eggs makes a lot of difference. And then I'm looking through the like video sets of these things of the animals. There's no chickens. I can't find any chickens. Like that's the whole the whole thing is like, well, where is the evidence of this being there? And there's just not any evidence. So let's see. This is another one regarding the Massacre of the Innocents. This is 2010. Please see below. Would you like to proceed? Please do so. Furniture be delivering. That's from Jeff. So Jeff is talking to Sarah about Massacre of the Innocents. So that's a direct tie between him and like requesting this painting. That's a different one. I already read the FedEx one. This is Andres Serrano. Anybody know this guy? Moving on from Massacre of the Innocents.
That's what's her she had a TV show for a while. What's her name? She had Epstein's rant. God, I can't talk for some reason. Jeez. Ellen DeGenerate. There we go. That's who that
is. She knows him?
No. I'm just saying I think that's what it is, right? Isn't that? Oh no, that's Andy Dick, right?
No, that's Andre Serrano.
Okay.
Andre Serrano.
I'm just making a joke.
Okay.
Sorry,
that's right. This is he's done the artwork for this Metallica and also this other one, Reload. So Load and Reload. This is Blood and Urine. So this, I would say, is transgressive or deviant art. And then Piss Christ. That's what he did. This is the one you like the artwork, the photography for. Yeah,
the lighting is really, if you don't know, it's piss. It's the problem is you put it in the name. But really, the lighting is really good. And if you actually know about Christian, like esoteric Christianity, there's a lot of mushroom, fly agaric mushroom stuff, and people would drink their urine to get more high from the mushroom. And I wonder if that was related to, that's why, because Hans's old friend Jan Irvin did a thing about that a long time ago, about how there's a lot of crossing of the symbolism between Jesus and like he would sit by the fountain and he said, you could drink that water, but this water will get you places. And so like as if he was some shaman that eats the mushrooms and then lets people drink his urine and then they get high, but that is, I'm just speculating, I guess, but really the lighting is really good. The color is beautiful. I like it, but the fact that people don't like it because it's
sacrilegious.
Yes, it's submerging him in urine.
It's not the only one. He's done the Pieta in the same way and all this stuff. Like he's very sacrilegious. This is it. This is one of his presentations. But we were talking earlier about exchanging antiques. This is something that he and Epstein exchanged. For some reason, Serrano wanted this. And so it's some kind of woman praying, looking up at the sky that Jeff sent to him. And, the code words and other things, you just don't know. It's like,
right.
Is this something they traded for value or some other thing? But it's there. And there he is right there, the artist, the Madonna, the last known portrait of Jeffrey Epstein. This is actually from 2022. And that's the last portrait, the last picture of Jeff. So this is from 2019, mid-2019. And they had some kind of arrangement, like art for a portrait. And I think that Serrano was supposed to paint Epstein, but he didn't. This is what was left. So that's what Epstein, in whatever lighting and whatever it was, this is what the Epstein looked like before he was murdered, in my opinion. I think the facts showed out that he's murdered at the Metropolitan Correctional Center. So
notice the fact his eyes are just black.
Yeah,
there's no pupils,
perfect,
straight black,
and he's wearing black, right?
Yeah,
so
it's hard to light eyes like that. You got to have, but they left it dark on purpose. Like he didn't try to light his eyes at all.
Or he wanted it dark. I'm sure.
Yeah.
He titled the
very interesting,
Infamous. So very much.
It's a great. It's tough to make a portrait photograph interesting. It's just a face. And look at all the color he's put in there and all the the lighting, and I don't know. He's a good photographer. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
It's not the only person that Serrano's worked for. He did a Trump expose. that he says he has a strong stomach, and that portrait is a picture that Serrano took of Trump. So there's a connection between this artist that it's not really known in the public, between Trump, Epstein, and Serrano. They're like a little incestuous group.
It's funny if you look at the way the face is, and the way that the camera lens kind of makes his face blown up big, and his face is kind of jutting at the camera, and his necktie is like making his neck real small. So it's almost like the photographer is saying, look at this guy with this big head, right? Like a big head, literally. And then they got ego right there. Like, I think he's like, he might be saying something with it.
Oh, I
just like with Epstein, he's got dark eyes. Like he's saying something about the person in this.
No question. He titled the display "The Game: All Things Trump." So he has all this memorabilia about Trump, New York Post things, Newsweek, Esquire. And you can kind of get in the nitty gritty. But Serrano was so interested in getting stuff, he paid $2,000 for this piece of Trump's cake from him and Melania's wedding, and displayed it.
That's weird. I mean, yeah. I'm not saying he's a good person.
M&D, Melania and Donald Trump.
Where's your Trumpy memorabilia?
Yeah, maybe he bought Trumpy Bear. He
Trumpy
should have bought
Bear.
Trumpy Bear.
He should have a Trumpy
Interesting
Bear.
you say that, guys, because one of our listeners decided to share a poignant piece of their own thing today, and I'd like to share it with you right now.
Sweet.
Literal owner of Trumpy Bear. Well, I should put her name on there. Let me see if I can do this. She didn't ask to like have it done. Let me go here.
You could maybe crop.
I'm cropping it right now. I'm doing it. But here we go.
I wonder if that
She's probably listening. Good. If you think it's okay to put it out there, let us know.
I wonder if that cake still tastes good.
Can
you imagine? Like, how old is it? 20 years?
Yeah, but it's Trump's cake. I'll eat it 1,000 years old.
Yeah.
Oh my God, no.
There it is.
With the flag. The thumbs up. Yeah. There's Trumpy Bear, kids.
That's great.
It's real.
On a Japanese.
So anybody has another Trumpy Bear, please take a picture of it and send it in. Email. The best way to contact me is not to put stuff in a thread. WilliamRamseyInvestigates@gmail.com or protonmail.com. So anyway, the direct connections between Serrano and both Epstein, and this is a picture Serrano took.
Look at his big
What does
head.
he call it? He calls it Donald Trump 2004.
My God, he looks like a friggin' alien, dude. Like, where's his saucer? I mean, or some kind of like a reptilian. I mean, he doesn't look human.
That's a trigger word for all those listening. To fucking reptilian.
No, but
no, he's a reptilian.
No, he looks really non-human.
Yeah, it definitely looks like his head is ballooned up. Like it's really, and they shrunk it down the rest of his body because of the lens. I think it shows the lens. Never mind. Yeah.
This is another thing about him. Like Serrano is like, he is intimately connected to Epstein. There's absolutely no question about it. And they're sending emails to each other all the time for like a span of like 10 years. And it's really something else to just see their back and forth, because Serrano's asking, come down to the studio, come see my stuff. I'm doing a show called like Sacred Shadows, Sacramento. He did one called Torture, torture in Ireland. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to go off here and blah, blah, blah. And can you send me, I'm stuck in Cuba. Can you send me $6,000 and I'll pay you when I get back? So like he's asking Jeff for money. It's really like, this is just a whole thing. Leslie Groff between Serrano, Reed, Jeffrey Epstein, 2018. So fairly recently up into his thing. But if you realize this is just like coming to see Jeffrey at 9 East, 71st Street, between Fifth Avenue, famous Fifth Avenue, Madison. And like, these are all back and forth. But some of them are like, here's the statue of Madonna. Jeffrey would like Jojo and Leah to take the statue of Madonna to Andre Serrano at the below address and just request it tomorrow. So that was the statue that I showed earlier. But
The woman looking up at
right, correct. Like in the prayer thing. Like, what are these guys doing with this? They're talking. It's Serrano has assistants. Some of these are redacted, but these are directly to Jeff and Serrano back and forth. Dear Jeffrey, hope all is well. Any chance you could arrange for us to meet the Pope? Best, Andres. Epstein back to Andres. The list is now full. I'll ask. Thank you. This is 2015. Jeffrey to Andres. I saw your photos this evening at the Grand Palais Paris. Nice. So he's sending that Serrano. Like, these are all like incredible. Like, just like I want to send you 3 of my books today. Is there anybody at the house to receive them? So he's sending it over. Dear Jeffrey, thank you for a most enjoyable time and house tour. I'm thinking of your monumental staircase and something of mine that would make sense and look spectacular. I'm sending you 6 signature pieces. These are Serrano classics, all bodily fluids. 2 of these, Semen and Blood and the Piss Picture, were used by Metallica as album covers for Load and Reload because Metallica admired them so much. I suggest we pick 3 of the following images and make a unique installation on the 3 walls, filling each wall completely. Not only will they look amazing, you'll have something worthy of a museum. All the best, Andres, 2012. So those pictures we saw of that girl hanging at the center, it sounds like he was going to put some art in there. Maybe he did. I don't know. Those pictures were contemporary with the arrest of Jeff, so I'd say no. And then he includes it, so of course the attachments are not attached. 2 at your house. I want to see your house. What time tomorrow? There's other things here. I'm leaving for Cuba. Any word on Raul? Raul is Fidel Castro's brother.
Right.
So he's trying to see Raul Castro. Yeah.
He was the leader for a while.
He's with Mr. Black. Thank you for Mr. Black. I've given a thought to what to do to your dining room. I propose the following 6 portraits for the room. Each print will measure approximately 65 to 65 inches with a frame. I offer you the pieces, including production, for $100,000. That is 50%. He's given a bargain, by the way. This is 50% less than the gallery price. I think it will look amazing and provocative. I also may want to change the color room. So, like, he's decorating Epstein stuff. So he's not even. These are closed. There they are. They're all redacted, but it's just like these guys are back and forth all the time. Here he is, Serrano. God, he trusted. I think he liked this old religious iconography. It's weird. There's the piss Christ. Happy New Year to Jeff. That's 2013. Jeff, and this is from, you can see the EFTA number at the bottom right. So Andres sent him a Happy New Year card. Decide on the images. I don't know if any of this ever came to, fruition. And if you remember, this was all in the news. This whole Piss Christ thing was all over the Catholic League, and he got tons of free advertising. Hi, Jeffrey. I'll be having an opening this Thursday. If you're in town, a Catholic League will be there protesting! ! So Jeff doesn't say anything bad. He's like, I'll be in the Caribbean. See you when I return.
There was a comment, I put it on the screen earlier. I've looked through hundreds of Serrano's work. It's actually much darker. Lots of dead bodies and torture.
Wow. Well, I'm not surprised.
Thank you, you favorite uncle.
I mean, I could do a whole show on Serrano, but he has a very close relationship to Epstein. Like, there's no question.
All I've ever known is that picture. I didn't even know who made the picture. I knew it was a big, controversy of Piss Christ, because they talked about it in photography school.
There's many back and forth, 500 emails, but the emails are so haphazard and there's duplicates, so you kind of have to.
But it just shows their relationship is very deeply good friends.
He's asking him to borrow money, so that's kind of the giveaway. The next one is this guy, David Ross. He resigns after Epstein files reveal ties. that said he wrote to him, "I'm still proud to call you a friend." This is after his arrest. And this guy has been canned. Got canned by, I think, the MOMA. This is a huge museum of modern art. He was the former director in 2009. But like their relationship's interesting. There's interesting articles. But what's really this is what he wrote about Epstein. Jeff, from David, "It's depressing to see how you're once again being dragged through the mud. I'm still proud to call you a friend. I know you're strong, but still, hope we can catch up sometime soon. David A. Ross." And then like all the stuff goes in, but and it says sad, forward sad. So Dave is sad that this guy, convicted pedophile, is involved in all kinds of incredible dark stuff, trafficking. Two, David. This is the same guy from Jeff Epstein. You want to read this, anybody?
I'll read it quick. David Ross to David Ross from Jeffrey Epstein. Sent Thursday, 10/1/2009, 11:30 a.m. and 4 seconds. Roman Polanski's attorney are coming to see me. I might want to fund an exhibition entitled Statutory. Girls and boys ages 14 to 25, where they look nothing like their true ages. Juvenile mugshots, Photoshop makeup. Some people go to prison because they can't tell true age. Controversial. Fun. Maybe it should be a web page with hits tallied.
So he's suggesting like a scandalous thing where if people could go to prison over it, like that's how dark his cultural jamming was. And I think we did one of the shows where we talked about him trying to insert nude women into video games. You remember that? So like this is another of Jeff's degenerate evil, like trying to like, oh yeah, maybe we could trip some people up and they'll go to jail because I'm putting in underage people that nobody's sure of their age, right? Like he's knowingly doing it. He's knowingly speculating about it with this guy, David Ross.
But he wants to promote it on a web page and tally how many hits they get. Like, let's see how much this is infecting the general society.
Wait till the next email.
Okay.
It gets even worse. True ages. And then if you want to, this is to Jeff. Anybody want to finish the thread there? You have to read them backwards, but maybe if you can try. Because the original one you just read is here. And this is another example of just in a general point is how inconsistent the redactions are. Because you just read that Roman Polanski's attorneys are coming, and then it's redacted on a different file. That's how incompetent these people were. They're not competent. They were unable to like data crunch this accurately. And it's a big tell. Like they didn't care. They just want to get paid, in my opinion. But you have to read it from the bottom up to the top.
Okay. So it's an exhibition. Let's say, let's talk today. I'll call you. Would it be good for you? Are you traveling yet? And David Ross, you are incredible. This would be a powerful, powerful, he left off the P. I don't know if that's on purpose. Powerful, and freaky book. Do you know the total porno commercial kitty picture of blank that Richard Prince appropriated for an exhibition in the early 1980s? And Epstein writes back, 904, yes, they closed it off in the London show. And yes.
Literally 4 minutes later, he has an answer.
Yeah.
That's a huge tell.
9 a.m.
right away who he's talking about, the redaction.
Yeah, no, 9 a.m. to 9:04. He's right there on the thread. So first is 9 a.m., then 9:04 a.m. response. Yes, they closed it off in the London show. And then afternoon, the Ross writes back. And yes, this should be a web-based exhibition, totally global and totally open as a 2.0 platform for the ranting of everyone.
So he just says he wants to get people arrested accidentally for putting underage kids out there. And then he follows up with it should be totally global. And for the granting of everyone, I think it's another misspelling or something like, because Jeff, he just scattershot, would put these typing things. He must have added like either, BlackBerry or something. I don't even know, but like he would always misspell words. But he wanted to make sure it was accessible globally on a web exhibition. And so if you see some of the earlier ones too, he seems to be setting up some girl he trafficked from Eastern Europe to go straight to Pornhub. Like he was having her groomed. I think we talked about that one. Where the girl was redacted, but they're like, oh yeah, she has baby hair or whatever. So you see this thing of Jeff, he's literally trying to corrupt as many people as possible. He's a complete monster and a complete piece of you know what. Anybody want to take a guess who the girl was who's redacted that they know that Jeff knew within 4 minutes? Like he knew off the top of his head, in my opinion.
Probably the girl from the Blue Lagoon movie, right?
Very good, very good.
Yeah,
Yes.
she was a Playboy or whatever.
They knew this was like Piss Christ. For people who don't know, this prepubescent girl,
Brooke Shields, right?
Brooke Shields, dressed in makeup like this. This was either published by Hefner or something, but this is Richard Prince, right? He just mentioned Richard Prince right here. If you see, in this, you just read it, Hans. But this is it. They know the pedo. They know the pedo lingo. They know the kind of culture of the pedophilia.
JonBenet Ramsey, right? JonBenet Ramsey.
Right.
That's the the beauty pageants, and then this whole thing and the way that was covered up. Completely.
Right.
I'm pretty sure she was like that other girl Barrymore, where she was like in the public view in a not good way when she was very young. It's my understanding. I mean, anyway,
Brooke Shields' mom brought her there and promoted and got her into that movie and was all about it. Signed away all the.
Her mom was like a Hollywood mom,
Yes.
She was the one who did everything right for her.
Right. Yes. But I mean, the woman who Roman Polanski raped, or the young girl who Roman Polanski raped, was dropped off by her mother to Jack Nicholson's house, and the girl had the Quaaludes. The girl brought the drugs. He didn't drug her. He just gave her champagne. And
there were two girls. It wasn't just one.
Oh,
I think one never talked. There were two. My understanding. Yeah.
Well, they were driven there by mom. So that's Hollywood, though. I mean, yeah.
This is another one. This is from the Mansion of Hell. This is George Alvarez's coming of age ceremony in Epstein's townhouse. Now, these were redacted in the pictures that they took in 2019, but this is interesting for just a variety, because it's not just what's pictured there with the kid naked and ready to roll, so to speak, but in the background there's like demons and stuff. Like I don't even know what they are, but this is the one that they redacted. You can see the EFTA number on the bottom. Yeah, I don't even know if I should show that close up. I don't know. YouTube will get pissed, but this is deviant art, guys.
Can you go back? I just want to look at that.
What's going on in the background?
Women dancing.
Doves is like the Holy Spirit, but also Crowley used doves a lot as like a symbol of you know what,
Yeah,
the dove and the chalice. There's your mirror. She's gazing into the mirror. There's like a chaise lounge or something like that. They're naked. They're multiracial.
Yeah,
and there's like some kind of bacchanalia in the background. I don't know what it is.
It's some kind of writhing women, sort of a bacchanalian ecstasy.
Right.
You see the horn,
Main
and they're
ads.
being possessed by the dark energies, or possessing them. See that? They're almost copulating with these possessing spirits that are coming through in the background.
Peacocks up. This gives you an idea of the size of it.
Oh yeah, I didn't understand.
It's big. Like it's like a wall mural. There's the guy signed it. I think this is literally from the Epstein files. Like it was in storage somewhere. I mentioned storage earlier, so they stored it somewhere. I've shown this. The shrimp. This is up on the wall with kind of like Picasso style cubist art in the background. This is like an infant, and there's a picture. I've shown this to you, Sean, or one of you guys. There it is in the background, and this girl as a statue. I think she might be. They had redacted her underbelly, I guess is what you can say. Underbelly. But there's Jeff and these two guys. They're just like, this is normal. Like, who's this guy here on the left? Why didn't they redact him? I thought they were redacting perps. But you can see the EFTA numbers right there. You can see this in the files. But there's the deviant art right there. Like, this is so strange. It's just everything together is Jeff Epstein's inner world is so screwed up, dude. He's a monster.
But
he should have been put down. Yeah.
You got this lounge, and then you have this picture of this nude kid in a sink with this creepy artwork, which is just really not normal. And it's framed, like expensively framed, and this is obviously a meeting space or a casual meeting space. So I mean,
I think it's off their kitchen. There's like a little eating dining area, and this is what they're doing. And they've got some girl either trafficked or doing something like, get off the floor, get off on your fours. It's basically back to women as furniture again.
Right. But then when she's doing her business under the table, whoever's there sitting at the table can look up at the picture and, have their jollies or whatever. We're trying to use code words, I guess. I don't know. But,
I don't know either.
It's gross.
We talked about this guy last week, Paguzzi. He showed up on the Edge. He's all over Edge. It's so weird. But this is fairly recent. This is within the last year. John Paguzzi, anyone knows up about a new HBO Max documentary. I know nothing about this. But he is the father of the celebrity selfie. And I have to find out his art. So he's an art collector of African art. Something tells me that it's going to be like dark, African god art, but I don't have any proof of that yet. But he operates in this network. He's pictured with like everybody. Hunter S. Thompson, the Stones, Lady Gaga, Andy Warhol, Schwarzenegger. Who else? Richards.
There are two pictures with Rolling Stones by the pool. And isn't one of their founding members, didn't they die in a pool?
Pool, yeah.
Yeah, Brian Jones. That was another one of the...
He was basically SFK'd in a pool, in my opinion, because a guy came out and said he drowned him. And then they chalked it up to an accidental drowning,
and by the way, there's a number of some of these modern, relatively modern, esoteric schools of occult, whatever, and they say that the true ancient Satanism comes from Africa, right? Which came from ancient Egypt, but it's actually the African is the deepest root of all of it. And that's kind of out there. So I think the African art could be, depending on what it is, could be significant.
That's Pagozzi there with Ratner. So you see this nexus. This is the Epstein network. Because there's pictures I can just bring up of Ratner with Epstein, right? And Ratner directed Melania's documentary. So this guy Pagozzi is important. He's never been brought up because here he is in the thing, and he's also at those Edge meetings. Like, what the hell is this guy doing at the Edge
What does he do in his life? He just takes pictures with celebrities? What was his actual work?
His dad was an executive for a French auto manufacturer. So he was independently wealthy. And he was buying stuff and selling stuff in the hundreds of millions of dollars. So he had a lot of free time and a lot of money. And so I think when he was younger, as like son of a rich kid, this is how he did his time, is took photography and took pictures with famous people. Like he was like I don't know what it would be, like a
groupie,
like a male groupie. Yeah, like that's a good word. I mean, who else is he with?
Is that Chairman Mao?
Is it the real? I don't think that's really him. I think it's a statue. But I haven't seen his new book yet. But here he is with Paris Hilton. This is 2006. At a gallery. Like there's this other Serpentine galleries these guys are all at. I need to do some research on the Serpentine gallery. Here he is with Catherine Deneuve. He's French, Pagozzi, even though he's Italian last name, he's French. He's a battalionist. And there he is in Epstein's book. There's so many important people in here. Like this is incredible stuff, you know. And there's his most recent. This book came out fairly recently, but there he is with Clint Eastwood. Jeff Koons says he did not have a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein after appearing in the files. Well, you didn't have a relationship, but you hung out with him, and it sounds like you went to dinner there, and you had him come to your studio, which I think is important. Does anybody know about Jeff Koons and his background?
His face looks like he looks like a PDF file. I mean, just look at that smile. Jeez.
This is one of the richest artists of our time. This guy's worth $500 million selling this kind of like deviant art, in my opinion. But here he is for the Paris sculpture of not 10, not 12, but 11 anuses.
11. And why is it an anus? I don't understand.
I don't know. Many French find the work a little too suggestive. Why is it just the French? Why isn't it anybody? Just general person. Why do they single out the French?
Rainbow colored flag.
Bouquet of something. And he did it for like 9/11 or something. So I would say this falls into the joke.
For 9/11.
Yeah.
11 anuses for 9/11. Great.
It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. And I'll bring up, I think I have the emails in this.
He's a Thelemite, right?
Balloon.
He's 11. Okay.
Naked kids, the whole thing, right? This is him, 1998. This is a huge statue of like multicolored, like rainbow 11s.
Oh, right. Yeah, the rainbow.
Bouquet of something, yeah.
And the rainbow is Lucifer, too. We talked about that a long time ago.
Rainbow Bridge, right?
Yeah,
to Lucifer.
right.
He did in a Made in Heaven series, which is infamous of people engaged in the act of coitus, I guess.
Coitus.
A series premiered at the 1990 Venice Biennial and caused an immediate media sensation and critical backlash, described as pornographic, cynical, and shameful. Yeah. Modern Adam and Eve narrative. But many saw it as crude self-promotion.
I mean, at least with Piss Christ, it was well lit. I mean, what is this crap? I mean, it's just, there's nothing.
I guess it's something about him. I guess this is him on the far left. I don't know.
Ew.
And this is a famous porn star. From back in the day. Like this is another thing that was like in the news.
Was that the one who was underage? Tori?
I don't think so.
Tracy Lords? Tracy Lords?
No. I think her stage name was Cipollino. She's Italian or something like that. Cipollino or something. Anyway, I could do a whole show on Serrano and this guy. But he's connected. Also, Damien Hirst is connected to Epstein, where he was the guy who did like the animal pieces and stuff like that. Epstein knew people in the art world, and he was talking to them all the time, man. It is really crazy.
That woman did not look comfortable with her back on the stones like that. That dude is a monster.
But
it's pornography. It's not art. I mean,
yeah, that's for sure.
Art. It's straight up porno, right?
He's selling it for huge amounts, though. Like you talked about that black box for $80 million. Like this is a guy who puts together stuff, and people pay $5 million so that they can say, "Hey, I've got this guy Jeff Koons, and he's a celebrity artist, just like Serrano or Abramovich," so they can brag to their friends, like, "Hey, isn't this cool, man?
Look at my cool 11 anuses."
But do you think it's like, again, I think that's the mockery. These guys are basically hacks. They're not good artists. It doesn't matter what they're painting or conveying. They suck. Sorry. They're not good even at their craft level, but they're good at distorting, they're putting on this distorted agenda. I'm sure that is 11 anuses, right? And that's the rainbow colors, which is the rainbow flag, the transgender thing, and the Noahide laws that we're all under, thanks to W. Bush, the first Bush one, signed in the Noahide laws, and that's a whole nother topic. But I recommend people look that up. Rainbow flag and the particular colors, the particular sequence of colors, is the Chabad world order, basically. So.
Wow. They painted that on the White House. Remember, Love Wins?
That George Bush?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh no, this is art,
From
man.
Jeff to Ann
Oh
Rodriguez.
man, this isn't an art gallery. I guess I don't get out enough.
Jeff
Whoa.
sent this.
Dude,
This
I want to
was
stay in
important.
if that's what's out, dude. Who would want to go visit a freaking? Oh, gonna go to.
There's the
gonna go to the art
EFTA
gallery.
number, guys. Like, this is incredible stuff,
You know,
man.
look at a freaking. Look at a George W. fucking a pig. I'm sorry, I said the word. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to swear.
And most of the artists on this level, the actual work, it's all done by assistants. You know what I mean? Most of it, they'll just like sign it. They'll maybe
That's
throw a
true.
dab of paint, but most, like especially something like that, that sculpture, that's all going to be most of the grunt work. I mean, I would just, generally speaking, like Andy Warhol or something. I mean, he's barely doing anything, right? It's his underlings
Right, it's
that
his
are actually
underlings,
producing.
I'll read this.
Went to work today working for a famous artist, helping to make 11 anuses. Go home, tell their wife, like, oh, I'm so proud.
Does anybody want to read the story of Maria
can-
Farmer? This is her
I
story.
can
Does anybody feel
barely
like
read
that?
it. It's like, it's very,
Okay, let's get that.
okay. That's a little better. Yeah, that's better.
Let's see.
Okay.
Does anybody feel like reading this, or should we read it? Like, on my presentation's done. There's more I should have put in there. God, there's so much. But this is Maria Farmer's story about her art and missing stuff. Does anybody want to read this or feel like reading? This is the intake to the FBI too. So the FBI had records of this.
Yeah, after this, we should show her painting with the.
Yeah, I'll try to find her. I think I have like an article of her paintings and stuff.
Okay. All right. Jeffrey Epstein, child trafficking, drafted by blank. All right. Details. On 8/2/2020 at 11:54 a.m. Eastern Time, redacted cell phone number, redacted email address, address, all redacted. Internet protocol IP address. Okay, great. Which resolves to North Hollywood, submitted an online tip to the FBI, National Threat Operations Center, via tips.fbi.gov to report information regarding Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Date submitted 8/2. Threat to life. Submitted text. In 1996, I was 19 years old. My entire art portfolio was finally ready to apply to art school. I showed my best art to former high school classmates. Several were Israeli. I was friends with Serbians who were friends with the Princess of Yugoslavia and the lingerie model actress Serbian Canadian blank, and her ex-boyfriend, the actor Matthew Settle, who owed blank money, and they set up an elaborate plan involving a false romance and grooming me to ultimately be approached by Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein several days after all of my artwork. Next page. Disappeared. All of her artwork disappeared while Matthew helped the Israeli moving company North Star Moishes move me into my very first apartment in July 1997 when I was 20 years old in Los Angeles. In retrospect, there was a clear plot taking place, and I was introduced to Epstein early on at a bar next to where Matthew Settle lived. I heard blank call him on the phone and ask on speakerphone sometime between April to June of 1997 if Matthew had her money yet. He said to me she would send the Serbian mafia to hurt him if he didn't come up with the money. He did not mention that my artwork was where the money was going to come from. The friend of mine who told her Serbian friends about my artwork, which started chain of events culminating in the disappearance of all my artwork is named Jasmine-Tizad. One of my stolen paintings is of Bill Clinton's head on a woman, Hillary Clinton's body. I painted it between November 1995 to January 1996. I was a teenager. I drew my own dental impressions in the Ray Johnson estate collage. I also drew one of my fingerprints, and that art is made out of pieces of my high school calendar which fell apart from overuse. So I glued the pieces into thick cardstock and drew designs and drawings around the glued pieces. I also traced my own handprints on that art. I also drew a replica of the art on the cover of my 12th grade high school play production program, and I also wrote the fictional bio of Ray Johnson.
Do you want to read the violation questions?
Yeah, all right. What was violation questions? What was the exact crime that occurred? Art theft, art fraud, art forgery. Does this information involve a government official? If so, what is their name and position? No. Do you have any evidence to support your claim or know of any witnesses to the crime? Yes, some evidence and witnesses who saw the art before it happened, before it disappeared. Did you suffer any personal losses, financially or physically, due to the crime? Yes, to both questions. I've spent $100,000 my dad had to give me to buy my stolen artwork back. Wow. But most of it I can't get back because it's been sold through Sotheby's in June 22nd, 2017. London catalog art, the 2017 London catalog artwork misattributed to a variety of artists. Also, the D.B. Henkel paintings are my stolen forged paintings. Some of the Paul Tobler stolen paintings are mine. The Adler Beatty Ray Johnson estate. How long has this activity been going on? Since 1997, when it disappeared in Los Angeles. Some of it is also in the Adelson Gallery. Miriam Adelson and the other guy? Well, some of it has been sold to Tony Podesta by a fake artist. 3 paintings are part of Jeffrey Epstein's estate. One of those falsely claimed by Patrina Ryan Clyde, who used my 3 of my paintings as her collage portfolio art.
Do you remember who Patrina Ryan Clyde is? She was at the beginning of this presentation. She was the one who did the 3 paintings of Clinton in the dress and Bush and then Obama.
And then the airplane too, right?
So this is her tie. I'm pretty sure this is Maria Farmer. This is her tie to the Miriam Adelson family and the Podestas, which ties back to Podesta's emails, guys. Incredible stuff. So this art world is the tie that puts together these separate things that are separate in the minds of the public. They're not, according to Farmer. Nobody ever asks her these questions, too. Like you'll see her in interviews, they don't know the information, so they can't ask the right question because they don't know. And sometimes she does. To my knowledge, she's never divulged it. Do you want to continue to finish this one out? Sure.
Yeah. Additional info: Ray Johnson Estate online website. The artwork is listed in the Smithsonian Museum's online art and is falsely attributed to a deceased person in the art gallery world named David Bourdain or Bourdain for the year 1998. It was stolen from me in July 97. Patrina Ryan Clyde has an online presence and has many fake articles written about my artwork falsely attributed to herself. One of those paintings was originally a painting of Dan Quayle, but someone has painted over the face to make it look like George Bush Jr. instead. That painting used to depict a note tacked onto the wall that spelled potato wrong with an E, which was crossed out, and underneath was written the correct spelling of potatoes. Also, my signature used to be on the front of the desk, but it has been painted over. I usually use permanent marking pen ink for my signature, so it probably can be detected using the appropriate technologies for analyzing art. This applies to all of my stolen paintings, but my drawings were often signed in pencil, but I drew my fingerprint. My dental impressions and my traced handprints on the Ray Johnson estate art that is listed in the Smithsonian. There is a lot more information about fraud and forgery going on with Sotheby's, London 2017, and D.B. Henkel in Traverse City. It would like to share all information in depth so that all of these fake, forged, worthless paintings that were stolen from me can be removed permanently from the big money art market and hopefully returned to me because they belong to me. They are sentimental personal property, and I will never get over this until these people are stopped from their art fraud. Another fake artist has a Serbian name, Biljana Djurjevic, and Tony Podesta's bought all of those stolen paintings of mine, including one that is a self-portrait of myself at 19 years old. How is contact known? This is the person who owed the Serbian Canadian model blank money, was connected to Mark Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Jean-Luc Brunel, Ghislaine Maxwell, Elle Macpherson, and her manager Stuart, the professional magician J.B. Ben.
Who would have thought Elle Macpherson would show up? I've never heard of J.B. Ben. I don't even know who that is either.
I don't know either. Okay. His full name is Jeffrey Matthew Settle. He became a very successful actor immediately after all my artwork disappeared. He also was friends with Lady Victoria Hervey, a member of the aristocracy of England at the time when all of my paintings disappeared. I had shown him every single painting I had ever made. Redacted was friends with a princess of Yugoslavia, but I don't know which princess this was. She also, in recent years, has been publicly linked to Prince Andrew. J.B. Ben, the magician, was also very closely involved in grooming me to meet Ghislaine Maxwell in New York in April 1997, when I was forced by Matthew Settle to go stay with J.B. in New York City for a week in the bedroom of his roommate, Urim Lekaj, who was an Albanian model who went to Los Angeles while I was staying in his bedroom in Manhattan at JB's apartment. JB took me to a dinner with reservations required where Ghislaine was sitting at the table next to us and asked me for my contact number to send me modeling castings. I looked 15, even though I was 20 years old at the time in 1997. I'm only 5'3.5" tall, and I was never photogenic enough to do modeling. It was all a scam. And I think the goal was primarily to steal all of my artwork, which according to Sotheby's, the Smithsonian, Adler Beatty Gallery, Adelson Gallery, D.B. Henkel forged paintings that are my stolen paintings. In capital letters, here we go. All of the people involved are making millions of dollars selling my stolen paintings with forged signatures and false provenance. How is contact known? He very suspiciously showed up outside an audition. I was sent to by the parent of one of my classmates and began a love fraud fake romantic relationship with me in July of 96, which ended abruptly a year later in July 97, right after all my artwork disappeared. He was also good friends with Mark Epstein, who he talked about a lot. Instead of encouraging me to use my art portfolio to apply to Cooper Union Art School in New York City, where Mark Epstein was director and where the tuition was free, all Matthew did was tell me I needed to get a job waitress at a restaurant, specifically Union Square Restaurant in Manhattan. Specifically that restaurant where we can keep tabs on you. And okay. Additional info. Here, we did that already?
I think you covered everything, so that was
Okay.
good. But look at all the graft going back before 2000, right? And that they're stealing it, and through forged signatures, they can make millions of dollars. And Tony Podesta's involved, and some of these other people. Like, who are these? Like, Matthew Settle. I guess I've seen that. Somebody in the comments said that he was in Band of Brothers, which I watched. But this other guy, Ben, like, whoa, he watch this. This is kind of disturbing. Shoot, where is it? I thought I had it. There it is.
Well, this is our new royalty, right? You know, and so that's
Maria Farmer.
Okay. Yeah. But I mean, this is our new royalty. You know, look at all the great artworks of the past. That's from support, patronage, right? Royal patronage. You know, most of it. All these great paintings, great masters, they're supported. This is what they're supporting, right? With this infinite wealth, is just degeneracy, deviant art, and then they're street level heisters.
Hoodlums, yeah, shysters.
How much money you
Just
have? You're
constantly
still going to
shysting.
run the scam. You got billions of dollars. I'm going to scam, get some more. It's like it's unbelievable.
It's a state of nature. It's like they're freaking salmon swimming back to roost. They're just scammers, constant scamming and lying and manipulating. And then here's this guy, JB Ben. That's probably why I haven't heard about him, because Diane Neal claims Magician X, JB Ben, assaulted her and slit her dog's throat. Nice.
Wow.
It's in the lawsuit. I don't know how. A manipulative and maniacal fraudster who defrauded her of millions. So, I mean, that's her claim, but it sure sounds like she's in the right company, right? All these other people, they're all fraudsters. I mean, you have to take this is like stuff that comes in. This is what boggles the mind, and people do not understand the enormity of how the American people got raped by the FBI, who did nothing. Their sins are of omission. There's like voluminous records like this that are coming into the FBI. I think Farmer is suing the FBI right now for inaction. So I think she's suing them because she keeps calling them going, these are criminal acts, and they don't do anything. It's unbelievable.
I hope she wins. That's great. That's great.
Who was the guy, Ray? Imagine Ray like getting up and like testifying, and he knows all. You have to think he knows these are incoming or intakes, like he should. And the same thing with frickin' Patel. This is one of thousands of documents, guys, of like people going, I got all these names, I've named names, I've got evidence, and nothing happened. The cover up is extraordinary. It is off the charts.
The FBI is not the good guys. I think we've established that with the other series we did.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, Hoover, you know, with his army of, mind controlled assassins. I think in that what we looked at before, that's the beginning of the whole MK Ultra program, right? And as you go through that, but basically, of course, you know, Roy Cohn was blackmailing Hoover, man. They had the hotels. He'd come in, he'd wear his dress, and the whole room was wired, sound and video, right? So Hoover, through Roy Cohn to the mob, Hoover was completely also controlled, which means that all the blackmail material Hoover had on everybody else was also controlled, right, by that same valve. So, and
So
it's
this guy Settle was in Gossip Girl. Wow. So that was the Gossip Girl that featured Epstein's mansion, right? Wow. So that's an interesting thing. So this guy Settle. There he is. Wow.
It's all one big web.
One big web, one big network, guys. Wow. It's just so crazy. That's all I got. That's all I got.
Well,
We're
this has
2
been
hours, 10
fantastic.
minutes. Yeah.
This has been fantastic, William. Thank you for that.
I
You
think it's
always
still
been
the tip of the
best.
iceberg. Like there's stuff I'm looking at. It's like even more stuff to look at. Like you could do a whole show on Coons, but I didn't get into Hearst. And there's probably other artists that I don't know that are in these files that like you'd have to know their names to look them up because they're impenetrable. You have to know the code words and names to look into them. And even the people who offloaded all the information, they've done a terrible job. They don't seem to understand how the data sets are organized because there's two late data sets, 9 and 10, that have most of the files. They're like 1 million files. And somebody needs to get them and data crunch them. It's just, I can't do it. I don't have the capacity.
I was able to download them. I got the torrent, and the torrent downloads real quick.
Did you download the data sets 9 and 10? Because
I got 9 was like almost 100%. It was like 98% of all the data. Like it was the most complete. I'll send it to you.
How many gigs do you think it is?
I can see. I can look it up here. 1 second.
so who owns the ninth gate? It's the ninth gate.
Yeah, Bartow, you asked earlier the end of Ninth Gate, the ritual. That is a Crowley ritual. It's called the marriage of the harlot and the beast, or the Scarlet Woman and the beast. And so what's depicting is Johnny Depp is the beast, and he's being ridden by this entity who follows him around the entire movie, who like floats down from the sky and stuff. And that is the depiction of the Scarlet Woman. So at the end of the film, Johnny Depp becomes the beast, much like Crowley called himself. Or the character of Johnny Depp. I can't remember the character's name. It's Corso, I think was his name.
Oh, 9 is 186 gigabytes.
Wow, it's so freaking big. How would you send a file that big?
I'll send you the torrent. I'll show you.
Okay, just send me the torrent. I'll download it.
Yeah.
You sent to me too, Sean, if you don't mind.
Yeah, you got it, you guys. It's fine.
They did such a haphazard job on the whole thing. I actually posted something about what a joke it is, because the WikiLeaks stuff is so easy to look through, but like the Trump and the administration just shafted the American people with this really bad. They've done such a good job that even like credible journalists don't know the totality of what's in these files still. It's been 3 months. This is just part of it. I think I've scratched the surface, but yeah. Anybody, you guys want to wrap it up?
It just goes to show that the art really encapsulates their whole operation. Everything they're doing is there on display. Like even the slaughtering of the innocents, like they do harm babies, they don't need to get into that, but really it's all their mind, their actions, their will, it's all there like in the art, and they even steal it from victims. So they definitely, Yeah.
They're saying Maria Farmer was 26. Deb says so. Not nice. So that statement's from another artist. I wonder who that is.
Interesting.
Why is that redacted? Has that person come out? Somebody knows more than this of this story. Send me an email, or if somebody out there knows more. I don't.
Thank you, Deb.
Yeah, good comment. Great comments from everybody from the chat.
Yeah, it's true. Were there any questions? Maybe we want to.
Does anybody have any questions?
I'll
Is
just
there
say one
information
thing,
on cost to taxpayers?
Ananda
Yes.
Goswami, who's part of this whole Esalen and all this whole sort of elite, connected system, he said, if you control the art, you control the society. You shift the society, you shift the social will through art. So there's that aspect of it. There's also the aspect of they're using it as occult ritual currency. They're using it potentially as portholes to mirrors to walk through. They're using it as control mechanisms for mind-controlled people to re-traumatize them. And then they're using it as money laundering and fraud and debasement and mockery. So all these aspects are part of it. And it's just amazing that, again, all these, the nobility, they'd fund great symphonies, great works of art, cathedrals, and now what they're doing, whatever, I don't even want to comment.
Banana tape to the wall.
Yeah, no, banana tape to the wall is one thing, but this is like deliberately, and it's not even, transgressive. How many more boundaries are left to break, guys? No, you're showing ultimate brutality of the ultimate debasement of the human condition, yet this is their currency. This is the world they live in, right? This is the legacy. I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to fathom, but I guess that's what it is. So.
I think the takeaway is they live much differently than us, and it sounds like they have like the morality of pirates. Like they're just pirating other people's art and stealing it and treating these people as disposable entities and harassing them and just the nastiest, inhuman, witchy, occulted stuff imaginable. And they all try to keep it silent. Of course, they would have to keep it quiet. Like they willfully keep this from the public. So it's really important that it's exposed. So thanks for listening, everybody. We had about 330 live listeners on all of the platforms.
I don't know if you guys want to. There is a second Trumpy Bear commercial. I don't know if you guys want to get into that.
No, if you want to.
I don't know if it.
Rich Bannon funded Seinfeld show. Bannon was involved in the transaction when he was at Goldman. He was involved in the rights to Seinfeld. So not the original thing, but the syndication of Seinfeld he was involved in. I think the transaction that took place. So he wasn't really a creative by any stretch of the imagination.
I'm already smiling.
Oh, no. Oh,
I'm already smiling.
Oh, no.
Just do it.
All right.
It's going to piss off Hans's wife because he's going to be laughing again.
No,
really
she's actually not feeling well, and so she's been scolding me. She's like, "You don't care if I die, do you?" I'm like, "No, I do care. Don't die."
Yes.
I said, "Don't die, please. I'm about to watch Trumpy Bear."
Okay, here, wait 1 second. I have to make sure it doesn't go through my TV so that it would.
Yeah, is there any sound on it?
External. Yeah, it does. Okay, here we go.
Favorite and most talked about bear is back. Introducing the one and only newly redesigned Trumpy Bear. Trumpy Bear's tie now features America First. His thumbs up. Let everyone know he will always be there for you. Just find the secret zipper. The American flag themed blanket and show your patriotism by proudly displaying Trumpy Bear in your home. Trumpy Bear is here.
He skis. He's on the moon.
He's on the moon. It better be authentic, damn it.
It's got America First tie now, though. I mean, it's worth another $60. If you paid for the first one, the $60, then you'll pay for another one that's got a tie, right?
Now that I know it's up, I'm glad I did. I almost made the purchase of the old Trumpy Bear.
Yeah,
the new one, the thumbs
shit.
Up, double thumbs up. He's always there for you, William.
He's your mate.
I'm gonna
These
wrap
are made.
myself in the flag tonight.
Planned, yeah. I want to just drive around, town with him, like
When
on
the
my motorcycle.
Yeah, ride your hog with you.
Yeah.
when they
Trumpy bear.
activate the hordes of all the Somalians down the street from me, I'll have my Trumpy Bear. Hey guys, it's Trumpy Bear. Don't eat me.
Right.
Somebody
You're,
asked
you're
us that
next on the
parody.
food chain, man.
I know. No, but I
After
mean,
they're done with cats, it's you, Hans. In the cauldron, in the Nganga.
Oh. All right. So it wasn't parody. That is real. People can look it up. So.
you can not only look it up, you can buy it.
Yeah.
Incredible. It's incredible.
Don't fall for counterfeit Trumpy bears.
I have to take
Get
next
the
week.
certificate, right?
Yeah. I have to take next week off, but I can do. We should go through all the intake stuff. I can probably start organizing that because it's just absolutely incredible. It's like unadulterated. Like I've got crime after crime and like nothing's going on. Like it's so crazy. Like what does the FBI do all day? Are the guys like playing like Candy Crunch or something? Like what the heck are they freaking doing?
They're drinking with Cash Patel. He's just getting hammered all the time.
Hammered like Grok the Clown. Like,
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
I mean, they're just getting. I mean, Cash just gets smashed. I mean, he's a hardcore drinker, man.
They say he's drinking all weekend. They all are. They've all been caught drinking. Yeah, Hegseth drinking at the thing where Trump looked at the dude's jock. Rubio was there wasted. Like he was wasted. Rubio's like he's like ooh, like he's woozy. Like
They probably have to be like, performing like that, and harming the world and burning Gaza and all that shit. Starting World War III, wouldn't you be getting drunk if that was your job to start?
Yeah,
World
I
War
think
III?
so. If you were like that, sold your soul to like freaking Trump and the Epstein network. Like I think Hans is right, and he's restated this. Like you're going to start to see the reverberation sooner than later. The last tanker from the Middle East made it to California like today. So then, like, imagine those other countries that don't have the resources the U.S. have, who aren't getting certain tankers.
Gas jumped
Consequence
up
would be millions and millions of people in pain. Consequences are vast. Yeah.
$7 a gallon premium now from $4 just today.
Yeah.
You go to Costco, parking lot, every place is filled. Rice, this is like atta, whatever. $7 for the bag. Now it's $20 a bag.
Wow.
We're talking about. And it's just, I think it's hitting now as the first peak, but it's gonna be like, we'll see inflation like you never dreamed of. And there's no reason to panic, but people are panicking, at this point.
Yeah.
It's only going to escalate. It's going to accelerate because then people are going to pay that over time and realize I got to refinance my whole life or what's the word? Like recalibrate my whole finances. And I can't afford crap as it is now.
Right.
Like wait till the food is up. Like holy crap!
I got. I shared with William because we were talking about him getting some external storage for his computer, and this thing that I bought, it's external hard drive and it's HDD. It's not the solid state, and I thought it was a good deal at the time. 22 terabyte external hard drive. I bought it on the 2nd of February of this year. And now I looked it up for William to tell him because I bought it for $310. And I said, "Oh, William, it's a pretty good deal. It was only $310." And I look it up, it's like almost $600. It's like $570. Same one. And I'm like, what the fuck? I just bought it in February. It's April. I guess now it's May, but still, like, it's only been a couple months and it's already double. And that's not the solid state. The solid state ones are crazy prices. For a while now, they've been very expensive, but now the HDDs are going up. So
Crazy. So we'll be off for next week unless you guys want to do something. Maybe you guys can get together on Sunday, but I'll be out of town. But we can do the intake stuff. And also go over, I have a whole file on the cover up, like how serious the cover up is. But I think going over the intake files and organizing them shows how big the cover up is, because people are calling saying these guys are crooks, and nothing happened, man. Nothing happened under Trump. It was all covered up under Trump and Ray and Patel. Call center cash, guys.
It's almost like Trump was made president again so that he could cover up everything and let Ghislaine out of jail, and
And start the war. I think that.
and start the war.
The devil's Trump, that's the thing.
Right.
The beast of the apocalypse. I mean, they see him as Cyrus, right? So he's seen there's a Trump coin. They were calling him the Messiah in Israel, right? So the Chabad and the Masonic and stuff. He's dialed in there. I mean, who knows? We should watch that. Have you seen the Trump Gaza video? Have you seen that?
Are you talking about the
What is-
Lego stuff? Or,
No, this is Trump's promotional video of when
Oh,
he takes
right.
over Gaza with the gold Trump statue in the middle of the square. It's all AI, and Elon Musk is in it and stuff. We should definitely check that out. That's interesting. The Trump Gaza, generated video. That was. I think
Have
that
you
was
seen the
before
Trump
election.
gold statue at Doral at his golf course?
No.
Oh, well, you're in for trouble. Well,
William's on point with it all.
here we go. It's your lucky day. Last time we saw him with his square up with the MMA guy, but today it's going to be Trump statue, Doral statue. Where is it? This guy.
Yeah, this won't get us kicked off YouTube. We lost
No.
stream last week.
You know what?
Yeah.
It's only 1 minute. Can I share the Trump Gaza video? This is his.
Is it copyrighted?
No, it's not copyrighted.
It's AI anyway.
Yeah,
Nobody owns it.
and it's. Should I text you?
Sure,
I just
man.
text YouTube link. I mean, it's 51 seconds, but this is his plan to rebuild Gaza, with his new, protocols. I just sent you in the private chat.
Okay, here it is. This is.
Yeah. It's
I
worth
found
seeing.
him.
It made me think much better of him after seeing this video.
Bow down before the mighty golden one. This fist in the air.
Freedom.
Oh my God.
It's funny.
Like, this is when he made himself. So he's like deifying himself. He's not like somebody else. Oh, Trump, you should do this. No, I'll put it out at my golf course.
Looks a lot skinnier than he really is, too. Obviously.
Sure does.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Private chat.
It looks like it's actually made of butter. It doesn't look like it's gold. It looks like it'll melt in the sun.
This is Guardian New.
That'd be a good Simpsons joke, I guess. I don't know.
Dude, this could I can't play it. It'll just
Macaroni.
blow up the entire show, like all the 2 hours we've done.
Oh, really?
I had to take the last one down. Yeah, YouTube won't show it. So you can check out. I'll put a link. Here's the link right here. People can just watch it themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
This shows it like Gaza's a resort, he put out in extremely good taste
Ah,
during the genocide. Extremely good.
I had to take down both of those things off of YouTube because of the MMA thing. The MMA.
yeah,
thing,
UFC got pissed. Too.
Yeah. So you can see the whole. If you want to see the video, you can go to Rumble, guys. Watch it
Oh,
on
right.
Rumble.
Yep.
I gotta run, guys. Anything
All right,
else
peace
you want
out.
to say? You want to wrap it up?
Thank
Do
you
wanna
so much.
promote yourself? Yeah.
Well, first of all, how about you, William? You're the guest. Promote yourself.
Yeah, just but then done a lot of stuff on Epstein. You can see my more recent shows that I've done. I did 3 shows last Saturday that I reposted, and it's just really one of the most important stories. And this art is one component of it, and I think it shows the insight into Epstein's mind. I mean, we stated that last show, so I think it's important. But yeah, check that out. William Ramsey Investigates. You can check out all my old shows. I've got like 1,700 episodes. We've done so many old shows and series. And you can just, if you can find a good podcast like Podcast Addict, where you can actually search, have a better search function, which is really strange because some of these sites like Spotify and Spreaker do not have good search functions. Like they're not doing a good job of like data mining or data crunching, or I don't even know the term for it. But you can see some of these old shows and check them out there. My website's William Ramsey Investigates. I post all this stuff in the PDFs at my Patreon page. You can check that out. I actually respond there. That's the best way to contact me, or my email, which is William Ramsey Investigates at proton.mail. But thanks for having me, guys.
Well, it's always a pleasure. And William, thank you for joining us. And it's so much like every time it's a show that we don't expect. And, each one of these are gold. I'm really, it's really great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you guys so much, and I will catch you after a week vacation. I hope everybody shows up with the Trumpy Bear next show.
Next
Trump-
Sunday's Mother's Day, guys. So get
yeah,
ready. Call your
week after
parents.
next.
Call your parents if you're still lucky to have them, and get your mom some flowers. So all the best. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Okay.
330 live viewers. Thanks so much.
Okay.
Fantastic.